In today's tutorial, we are drawing these 9 herbs together. I'll show you step by step how I drew these herbs, and you can add watercolors to them if you'd like. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Allison, and today we are starting out with these supplies for this herb drawing tutorial. I'll be using this cold pressed watercolor paper, but if you won't be adding watercolors, you can use whatever kind of paper you'd like. And these are the brushes I used for the watercolors. I first drew a grid with 9 rectangles as a guide. You can use a ruler like me or just freehand it. We are first drawing these herbs with pencil, and then later we will go over the pencil with pen. We're going to start out with lavender, which I think is probably one of the easiest herbs to draw. So it's a good herb to start out with, and I am going to be drawing 3 sprigs of lavender. The next herb will be mint. First, I'm drawing out where I want the leaves and the stems, and then we will draw in the jagged edges that will define this herb as mint. For the next herb, we are painting 2 sprigs of flowering oregano. I have oregano in my garden, and they produce the most beautiful purple flowers. We'll be keeping the flowers on the oregano simple with scalloped-like lines. The next herb is basil. I like drawing and painting basil because it's simple and not too complicated. Basil is basically a stem with large floppy leaves. You can also draw in some smaller ones to add more interest. I'm drawing these leaves a little irregular, not perfectly straight lines. This makes the leaves look more realistic. The next herb is a flowering sage. This herb, like the basil, also has floppy leaves, but the leaves are smooth, not curvy or jagged. And the leaves are round at the tips and not pointy like many of the other leaves. For the next herb, we are drawing flowering thyme. Thyme has small, pointy leaves and little purple flowers, and we'll be drawing 2 sprigs of thyme. One sprig will have a few additional stems, and the other sprig will be shorter with only 1 flower and a few leaves. This next herb is rosemary. Rosemary is made of many pointed leaves. Towards the bottom of the sprigs, the leaves become smaller and are fewer. Next are flowering chives. Chives produce poofy purple flowers. Start by drawing a circle for the flower. I'm only drawing one chive flower, but you can draw more if you'd like. And finally, the last herb. For this one, we are drawing parsley. Parsley to me is the hardest herb to draw, so pay attention carefully to how I draw the leaves. We'll be drawing 2 sprigs. One sprig will have 5 leaves, and the other one will be shorter and have only 1 leaf. Now that we drew out all 9 herbs, we can now go over the pencil with pen. I'm using a 0.3 micron nib for most of the lines and a 0.05 nib for the finer details, like the lines inside of some of the leaves. I'll be speeding up this footage since we are just going over what we already drew. After you go over the pencil with pen, you can then erase any pencil marks left behind. If you're not using watercolors, you're officially finished with this tutorial, and if you are using watercolors, we will get started. It's quite simple to add color to these herbs with watercolor. All you need is a green and a purple color. For the green, I'm using Decadent Pies pan set, and the purple I will use the Lilac Green from Pastel Dreams pan set. Both pan sets are from Art Philosophy. To get this green color, I mixed blue and green together. For this specific pan set, it was the blackberry and key lime colors. Here is the Lilac Green color from the Pastel Dreams pan set from Art Philosophy, and I am just going to paint directly from the little cube. I'm not going to mix it in my palette or anything with other colors. All of the flowers that are part of these herbs, they're all this color. They're all like a purple pinkish color, so I'm using the same color throughout, and it will help bring all of the herbs together and make this little herb painting cohesive. And then if you would like, you can also add in a touch of blue into the purple, or you can even add a little bit of pink as well to give the flowers more depth. And when there is a leaf in front of another leaf, like these basil leaves, I like to paint the leaf underneath a darker shade to help it stand out and to add more depth. To make a darker shade with watercolor, just use less water and more color. For this rosemary, I am painting some of the leaves really dark, and then I'll go in and paint some of the leaves a little bit lighter, and this will help the rosemary have more depth and add more interest. For the chives, I'm painting the tips a dark green, and then we'll blend the color down towards the onion part to make a gradient. And there you go. We are all finished with these cute herb drawings. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. I'd love to see your herb drawing, so please feel free to tag me in your herb photo on Instagram. And thank you so much for watching, and keep on creating art.